Hey guys, welcome back to Mason Zero ASMR. Today, I'm doing a computer build. This is going to be a pretty fun video, I think. My cat is joining us. I might have to kick him out. This is Henry. So, this build is for a client who wanted a computer built. I recently started putting up ads on Facebook Marketplace for building custom PCs, and I've gotten a lot of people in sort of the $600 to $800 range, which is a pretty good range for a medium-end computer build for gaming. So this is going to be a sort of medium to low-high end gaming PC in, I think, the $750-ish range, so pretty good. Before we get started, I'm going to go through all the parts. So the motherboard is the ASRock B450M Pro 4 motherboard, which is the exact motherboard that I used in my personal budget gaming PC. I, of course, have a pretty powerful main PC, but I made a budget PC as sort of a backup and for when friends come over. So I already know how to build in this motherboard. Same with the case. This is the Thermaltake Versa H18 tempered glass. I took the glass panel off, as you can see, but it would be here. And it has a grill on the front. And I use this case also for this budget build, and it looks awesome, especially with some colored fans in the front. So I will be using that. The CPU is going to be the Ryzen 3 2200G at like 95 or $100. It's a quad-core processor, and you can't really go wrong with that. So great for a budget. For the graphics card, this is where we put more of the budget in. This is the XFX RX 570 Fatboy. I did a video unboxing this that you may or may not have seen. It is it's a good beefy graphics card, so that's going to be the main thing doing that. And then we have 16 gigabytes of RAM, T-Force Vulcan. I believe this is 3000 megahertz of DDR4. Yep, 16 gigs, so that's going to be great. I've also used this RAM in another build. Powering everything, we have a Corsair VS650 power supply. While their VS series is not their best, I went for this one because of the price, and it has more than enough power to power the system. For storage, we have a 120 gigabyte solid state SSD. This is what Windows is going to be on. And then we have in this box a 2 terabyte regular hard drive for storage. In this box is a 3-pack of blue fans. I went with blue only rather than RGB because there is a blue strip on the front of the case, and it will go great. And then we have a 3-to-1 fan splitter for those because there aren't enough headers on the motherboard for fans. So we will need to take those 3 fans, connect them here, and then plug this end into the motherboard. So that's all the pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and change the camera angle, and then we can get started on the build. So the first step in pretty much any computer build is to assemble the motherboard. So we're going to start by opening the box. people, myself included, like to do is actually put it together on top of the box. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And there we go. I like this motherboard a lot because it has 2 PCIe slots, 4 RAM slots, and 2 M.2 slots. Normally I go with M.2 solid state drives, but to save a few bucks, I went with a regular one this time. So to start with, we can put the CPU on, which means we first have to take off these plastic brackets. So we are just going to go ahead and do that. And I'll use one of these coasters as a screw tray. Though these screws will be going into the garbage because they are not needed. And then the second one. Lift up this little tab to open the CPU tray, then we can open our Ryzen 3. Now the CPU itself is very small. This box is mostly for the cooler that is included. So there's the CPU. Go ahead and take that out. And I don't know if you can really see it, but there's a little arrow here on the corner, and that matches up with a little arrow on the socket, and then it should fit right in. And we just lower this down, and it's in. And if it doesn't wiggle, then we know we did it right. Next is the RAM. Then we'll put on the CPU cooler once we get the RAM on. So here are 2 8GB sticks of T-Force Vulcan RAM. I'm actually trying to remember what the proper distribution of the RAM is for this board. I think it is the 2nd and the 4th, but it could be the 1st and the 3rd. So let me check. No, I think it is the 1st and the 3rd slots, actually. Always good to double check. I believe it is, but if that is wrong, it will tell us when we try to start it up. So, lanes 1 and 3, and just slide that in, push hard enough that it clicks. There we go. And then again for this one, push hard enough that it clicks. There we go. Now, one thing a lot of people get wrong when they're building a computer for the first time is they don't push their RAM and graphics card in hard enough. But it is a little hard to break. Hey, that looks really good with our gray and black motherboard. That's very nice. Okay, now the cooler. So it comes pre-applied with thermal paste, which is fantastic because that's one less thing left to do. And from my experience building with this equipment, I know that it needs to go on like this. So now there should be a back plate. So I have to sort of hold on to that and attach it like so. Line up the screw holes. And now comes the fun part. It's always a bit difficult to get these screwed in, but we're going to try our best. You have to get them very even. Okay, that actually wasn't too bad. You really have to just do a couple turns on each corner. Do that a couple more times just to make sure it's tight enough. Feels nice and secure. Our RAM just barely fits there. So there we go. Our motherboard is done for now. Next, we're going to work on the case. So I went ahead and grabbed a headlamp. Hopefully that helps. The shot's a little dark right now. But here we have our computer case. And the first thing we're going to do is our power supply. So here's our power supply. I'm just going to open that up, take the plastic off. it is. And to put that in, we're going to have to take off the back panel, which just uses these two thumb screws right here. And take it off like so. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and take the power supply and put that into the computer. It goes right into this corner. And we want the wires to stick out and the fan to be facing down into this vent right here. So we're just going to slide that in like so. The power supply itself did come with 4 screws to put on the back, although the case also includes screws. But we'll go ahead and use these guys. And there are 4 screws that screw into the back. Those are going to hold the power supply into place for us. And last one. Tighten those guys up. Okay, nice and secure. So now let's undo some of these twist ties. This has all of the screws and whatnot for the case, including motherboard screws. So just for organization, maybe we can keep some of these things twist tied together still, just move them a bit out of the way. So next step, we're going to flip this over and put the motherboard in. So the last thing before I put the motherboard in is the I/O shield. And what that's for is you put it in the back, and this is what the rear of the motherboard looks out to. So we got our audio ports, which are on the bottom. It's pretty easy to put one of these guys in. It's kind of has to lock into place. And there we go. Now, lucky for us, the standoffs for this size of motherboard are already in, I believe. No, we do need to add some. Okay, that's fine. Put it into our bag. feel like I am... There we go. So, we need to screw these in, and some motherboards are nice enough to include a little something to screw these in, but ours does not. So I am going to try to use a existing screw in here and hopefully be able to tighten these standoffs. There we go. This can be quite difficult. Unfortunately, I did have to grab this little screw thing that helps screw in these standoffs because it was a bit too hard. It's still going to be a challenge, unfortunately. Maybe they're just not straight in. Okay, unfortunately that one refused to go in, but that's okay, because it's not 100% necessary. So I'll just go ahead and put our motherboard in. Actually, it would help if I plugged this in first. So this is the fan for the CPU. So I'll plug that into the motherboard. We will gently lower this in. these screws and screw it down. And our last screw will go right in here. Alright, nice and secure. So the next thing we want to do is take this fan in the back and plug it into the power header right here on the motherboard. There we go. And then now, we actually have 3 fans that we're going to be putting in the front. So let's go ahead and mount those. That'll give us a better idea of how much space we need to work with for other things. Here are our 3 fans. They turn blue. They're going to go in the front of the case. So the first thing we have to do is take off the front panel. This is going to be loud, so I will have to silence it a bit. So there we are. So now we have our fans. A good rule of thumb to remember is that the ugly side has all the information is the output of a fan in most cases. Some fans are nice and have little arrows. These do not, unfortunately. So we go right in there, and they come with the required screws, which can sometimes be a bit annoying to work with. Hopefully we get lucky. So go ahead and screw this one to the middle here. So far so good. Let this screw come in. Nope, we have to do the top. It's just big. So we'll go up to the top of this one, screw in there. Screw in here. first fan is in. On to the next one. This one is going to be a little more challenging. There we go. Stuff it down there. Get our screws for this one. And screw. Okay, this is a pretty easy fan installation as far as fan installations go. Are installed. I'll go ahead and do this while we're here. We're going to have to undo these wires. They're going to have some reaching to do. So we'll go ahead and plug those in to this little splitter here. That whole thing will plug into the extra open fan header, which there's a few of them. it looks like there's one up here we can use. Might be the easiest. And there we go. Excellent. There are some other connections there we'll have to do, but we'll get to that in a bit. I think... Let's see, what next? Let's add the drives. We have our solid state drive virtually. So open this guy up. Before this video goes on any longer, let's go ahead and do the fun part and put in the graphics card. I know that's what you all want to see. Here it is. If you can catch my unboxing video, take off the little bracket there. And then it will go in here. Take off a couple of these brackets in the back of the computer that are there in case you don't put a graphics card in. So these will not be used at all. Now we'll insert the graphics card. The RX 590 Fatboy from XFX. So I was actually wondering about this. I wasn't sure if this is the part of the design or not, but right now to tell this is bent. I wasn't sure if that was intentional, but I'm actually going to have to use a hammer to bend it back because it doesn't actually fit otherwise. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was fun. I had to smash this with a hammer. It's still not perfect, but it's better. But now it will actually fit. I was wondering if that was bent. It's very interesting. Now should be able to... Perfect. It fits, and it is a big boy. I mean, it is called the Fatboy, so I'm not surprised. And we'll take those screws that we took out and reattach them to mount the card. I might have lied about that, because the plugs for the graphics outputs are actually slightly covered, so I actually can't get them out with the card in the case. Oh boy, all kinds of problems. these guys off. Okay, back in. Now we can put the screws in. So we've actually encountered another problem with this massive card. Now this plate doesn't go back on. Just can't get this right, can I? I have to put this back on. Oh boy, this is going to be difficult, isn't it? See if we can even accomplish this. Okay, that ought to do it. Now for the third time, we can put in these screws. Bracket back on, or screw it back on rather. Oh, now the graphics card is in place. Now just the last thing we need to attach is the hard drive, and then everything's going to be ready. I'm going to have to do some cable management, which I think I will leave out of the video because it's long and tedious. Plugging everything in, things like that. You guys saw what you wanted to see, so I'm going to cut it here and then come back when everything's done, and then show you guys how it performs, hopefully. So the hard drive will go under here, it can go on the bottom or mounted under the side here. So I'll probably put it on the above area, but anyways, I will see you guys after this. I'm going to go do some tedious work. Hey guys, so here I am the next day. I have the computer finished, and I'm pretty excited about it. So everything works. Windows is installed and activated. No issues. The CPU is overclocked to 3.65 gigahertz. Just to give a little margin of error, it can go to 3.7. But I went to 3.65 just to be safe. The RAM, I did have to switch it to slots 2 and 4 from 1 and 3. Turns out they did work, but the overclocking, or I guess rather the speed of the RAM, was dictated by the slots, and 2 and 4 gave faster speeds. However, it is 3000 megahertz RAM, and I think it only actually supported 2933 megahertz, so whatever. It's close enough. And 3000 is usually sometimes the cheapest. I think it's just the most common. Even getting lower speeds can be more expensive somehow. But either way, here is it with the tempered glass panel on. And we got the graphics card in there. I don't know if you can see with the reflections, but let's go ahead and turn this on. Our one's right here. Because I don't have to turn on the power in the back first. And now we power it on. And there she is. So I'll go ahead and move the camera in a bit closer here. So there we have it. I think it looks pretty darn good. It's got that blue and black theme going on. I don't know what else I can really say about it. It's going to provide some pretty good performance with that RX 590, although it is sagging a little bit, but I can't really do much about that. It's a big boy, but yeah, everything in here is working perfectly. And I guess I will end the video with that. I should say the hard drive is mounted right under here. Solid state drive is mounted right here, as you can see. And yeah, that's pretty much all that happened between takes here. So thank you guys so much for sticking through this very long video. I hope it was interesting and entertaining. Leave a comment letting me know what you thought, and hopefully you're asleep so you can't do any of those things. So I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great night.